Alright, welcome back. Did a video yesterday, didn't like it, so deleted it. Gonna do one again. It was nothing major. I just was going over the fuel system, kind of how I set mine up and what I use for, you know, things like the clunk line, UATs, filters, line, stuff like that. So show you the tanks because I already started those. I was kind of switching gears. I got all the servos in on the wings. Took about 4 days, which is why the video, it's been a little while since I've done the last video. So hold on here, let me lower that down a little bit. There we go. So a lot of cutting, a lot of fitting, had to redo some stuff just because of some mounts being in backwards and that kind of thing. So but they're all in. 6 servos total, 3 per wing, 1 flap, 1 aileron / flap, and then 1 leading edge flap as well. I have the covers over the servos as well. I didn't cut the servo arm access yet just because I haven't installed the carbon fiber arms. These glue into the flap, so your arm comes to that and it pushes and pulls. Same way for the aileron. Quite a bit of butchering you do to the trailing edge of the actual wing itself. I don't like that, but that's the way they designed it. So the good thing is those areas are under things like the little covers that you put on the bottom of the wings, so it shouldn't show up. And I'm also repainting it, so I'm going to do all that before I paint it, so it'll be covered, you know, it'll look good once I'm done. And that was it with the wings. I kind of switched gears to the tanks. Here's what you got. Big main tank, big beast, and stand by. And I got 2 saddle tanks. These are different shapes than the ones I saw in the original, the first few kits. They had these tanks that did this, and they kind of came up and went over the inlet. Looked really weird. There was complaints about them not fitting. These are actually better. Like I said, they go in, you can kind of see the groove. So they go in like this. Well, this being the nose. Go in like that and kind of sit around the inlet and everything. So you'll have to build mounts because they just sit on stuff. So most of the builds I've seen, there's actually mounts and that kind of thing in there. So that's what you get. I run the 2 saddles into the mains, and then the mains each have a pickup going to individual UATs. So each engine has its own fuel filter, obviously, UAT, and they go into the main. So that's why you see 2 holes here, which I'll get to that. And then this guy. Don't know why they did it, but Skymaster cut a hole right there. I don't know. Not even in the center of the tank. I don't get it. They obviously screwed up. So I patched it, did my typical real thin aluminum mount with a bunch of high saw, and then just drilled for the 2 pickups here, and 1 for each saddle. So let me turn this guy on here. Ooh, bright. So I'm gonna change the video here, or the position. You can kind of see what's going on. So what I like to use, because of these fittings, are these BBM high flow tank fittings. They come with this brass insert, and this is supposed to actually, this brass screw or nut supposed to go on the inside of the tank. Well, I have yet to have a tank that I got to put together, so there's no way to get this thing in on the backside. So that's what that's for. But you still use high saw once you put the 2 pieces on. But I've always just discarded this and put the piece right in. So then you got these guys, your high flow fittings with a little washer, and you'd obviously put your clunk on here, and then you just they screw in just like that. So that's what I'm running. I got 4 of them, BVM's high flow. I do the same setup on all my tanks, along with their high flow clunks. I have 4 of them, 1 for each saddle, and then 2 for the mains. I use, I don't know what size this is, but it's the large tie gun. It's the same inner diameter as the high flow stuff. So I'll usually use this tie gun stuff to go from like the saddle tanks to the main pickup, or the vents on the main tank that goes to my saddle pickups, just because it's usually a longer distance and it's cheaper than using BVM's high flow tubing, which comes in 1-foot slots, which isn't long enough for squat. Come on, man, cut it to length, because I can't get from, I get keeping the distance down, but if I wanted to run this stuff all the way to my saddle tank, it's impossible, because it's just 1 foot. It's 12, there's no distance. So I'll usually run this from, let me drop this down. I'll run this stuff from the fitting up to the UAT, and I use these guys, the MAP high flow tanks. I like the inner Airco ones for singles. I mean, they're heavy, but I like being able to see. It's clear, it's kind of nice. But on twins, because they're already heavy, I use these high flow ones, and they're really nice. They come with the paper type filter to break up the air. Same things that you buy at like auto store or whatnot for a filter. I've actually bought some there and made my own once upon a time. But super big inner diameter. It has a step down that you get with it to go from this down to the size of the fuel line to most pumps. But I actually picked these guys up as a dealer for them. So kind of growing, getting there. I'm actually thinking about selling, putting, like when because I'm going to be doing the turbine thing here soon. That when somebody buys a turbine, they get a MAP UAT with it. Just something extra, if the customer don't want it, they don't have to. They have the high flow 4 ounce, they have the standard 4 ounce, and then they have a 2 ounce for your smaller guys. So I got a bunch of these in stock. So if you need something, let me know. Plus I got all the other stuff too, like the ultra precision air valves and everything. I bought a bunch of those for the actual F-18, replacing all the air cylinders and that. So for my clunks, I use BVM's high flow clunk line. You don't need, it comes in a 2-foot length, but you only need, usually like 3 to 4 inch pieces, because you end up putting a brass tube between, the 2 pieces to keep it from folding back on itself, especially when you got these big tanks. Something like this, probably just run a straight piece of tubing, but for your longer tanks, usually run a piece of brass in between to keep it from folding back on itself. So that's my tank setups. Gonna be sure this time, I forgot to do it on the Tomcat. Actually fill them up, see how much they actually carry, so that way I'll know exactly about flight times and everything like that. And also I gotta, check them for leaks. Hate that, it's ugly, it's an eyesore. But it's gonna be covered, you won't see this. So these you'll see because they're in the engine bay, but you won't see the others. Let's see what else. I just put all this. So that is that. Fuel tanks, and then I run these guys for filters. I probably won't run them after this because they're just so heavy. A lot of guys don't care about that stuff, but you know, just because it's a jet and a turbine doesn't mean, you know, building it light doesn't help it out, because I mean, it's still going to perform better and fly better when it's the lighter you get it. So, but this is one area that I don't mind a little bit of weight, you know, but they're nice because you can see any kind of air bubbles. These filters are really high tolerance, so if you get any kind of trash, I had a fuel slime problem once, and these things clog up super easy. So, but you just replace the filament and you're good to go. I've done that before, and I've heard of other people having the same problem. They just replace the filament. Sometimes you get one from the factory, so just before you put it in, install it, just unscrew the end, blow through it, and you know, you'll know if it's a too restrictive or not. So, but those are pretty nice. I mean, I like the UAT stuff. It's just a little heavier, and they're kind of, you know, these aren't that expensive, but the UATs are kind of expensive. So that's what I like about the MAP stuff. It's cheaper, super effective, no issues with them, and it's not just because I sell them. I actually used them before I sold them, and just like everything else, I don't carry any products that I don't think are worth it for the community. That's kind of that's what I do. Is just because I like to bring stuff to the hobby that it's good for the hobby, and everything. You know, just like the jet model stuff that I sell. I went ahead, had a customer, you know, order one of these. They're really nice. It's a little manifold. Get all your gear. You can customize it. You know, just tell them, you know, when you order it, how many fittings you want for the, you know, gear doors. So, pretty neat stuff. Very, very beefy. Saves you a lot of weight. I actually, just as a kind of like a test, I took and weighed this, and then since I'm cutting out all because I'm going to get one of these for the F-18 as well. I cut out all the airline because I replaced the airline. I don't trust any of the SkyMash stuff. I just had problems with it. Their T-fittings this time are actually really good. They're the normal T-fittings like I buy. So I took out all the T-fittings, the airline that I'll be saving with one of these, and I'm saving weight by going this route. So these things add up, and you got like 14 of them. They're actually pretty heavy. Like I said, little stuff, nothing crazy, but like I said, I always build weight conscious regardless of what it is. And it's just one more thing that saves weight. Plus it cleans up the installation, prevents leaks, you know. So, you know, these T-fittings, you got a bunch of them, they can always leak, that kind of deal. That's about it for the fuel system. Kind of rambling on here at like 13 minutes for not much of a video. But the next thing I'm going to do is just make my clunk lines. You know, I'll take pictures of those and everything, how I do that. And then I'll get back to the fuselage. I took the nose off, kind of sit there, kind of looking in the rudder servos, kind of sit right here under the, you know, kind of got to come in from the inside. They're going to be a pain to get in because, I mean, you're having to come in here and tighten stuff, or come in from that end and just see it. It's going to be interesting to get those in. And then the stab servos. Right here on the side, I've already looked in there. It's very rough. It's going to have to be cleaned out quite a bit just to get the servo in there and properly fit. So, but that's just how it is. So that's what I'll do next. Once I get the tanks finished, I'll go ahead and do one side and kind of show you how I do it, because you really got to pay particular attention to these direct drive things. A lot of guys will just slap them in there, but I always try to make sure I get my you know, the bearing. This is what goes on your servo. So it's like this. I can't even see that. So kind of goes like that. You just got to make sure you don't get it, you know, you get it perpendicular to your shaft and not like that, because sometimes you put the servo in on the Tomcat. When I did it on the Tomcat the first time, I put everything in, and you could see it. It was about 2 degrees off from being parallel to the shaft and everything. So that just causes binding and friction and rubbing wrong, and that just can eventually cause slop and everything. And you don't want that. So I spend quite a bit of time making sure I get everything parallel and as close to that skin as possible. and you have to beef up the servo mount for this, because the servo ply, or the ply they use in this area, is just that soft. It's not even I mean, they call it a ply, but it's not a true aircraft ply. It's laminated, it's real soft, and usually when you put the screws in, it just busts out the back of it. So I ended up having to put blocks, ply blocks in there to support the servo screws anyways. So, but that's what I'll do next. So I will, let me find my remote here. Back that out. So you guys have a good one. Sorry for the long-winded video, delay video. Full week for me. I'm having to go and sit in classes all day from like 8 till 4, doing retirement stuff. So, but it'll be worth it. So after this week, I'll be done with that and can kind of get back to a normal schedule. So you guys take it easy. If you need anything, check out the website. BrainCubeLights.com is the site now. It'll be changing soon. I'm gonna do another website, and because of the turbine thing, and I'll be doing a website for that, and everything else will just kind of fall into that. So you guys have a good one, and take it easy.